Hello, my name is Penny Campriello, and I want to welcome you to Toxic Free Tuesday. This is the show where we help to find safe solutions for toxic problems. I am so excited about our show today. Today is all about the girls. We're going to be talking about all of the things that women use during the course of their day to make themselves feel beautiful. When most people think about toxic chemicals, they think about the things that may be in cleaning products. Unfortunately, there are many of our personal care products and cosmetics that actually have toxic chemicals in them which are detrimental to our health. As a registered nurse and a life coach, my passion is to empower people to remove toxic chemicals from their lives so that they can improve their health. And when I was introduced to my first guest, Kimi, I was absolutely inspired by her story and what she is doing to help, like myself, to educate other people on the chemicals that are in the products that we're using every day. So I want to introduce Kimi Wright. And thank you so much for coming on the show today. I'm just really excited. We have lots of girls on today, and Kimi's just the first one. Mm-hmm. So Kimi, I guess my first question is, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you started on your toxic-free journey.
Well, to confess, a couple years ago, 2.5 years ago actually, I was kind of a product junkie. And so I loved trying any new products that were out in the market, hair products, skincare, makeup, whatever it was. I also enjoyed racking up those reward points at the different stores in town.
Right.
So I was a little bit of a product junkie. And then I was gifted some wonderful products, and I started to use them and saw some really nice effects to my skin and decided I'm going to find out where to get these products. I had never heard of them before. So I Googled and found the company website, and that's where I started seeing their mission for educating families on the harmful chemicals used in personal care products we use every day. So I was shocked, to say the least. I began to learn that what I applied to my skin, which is our largest organ, does get absorbed into the bloodstream. It's something I had never considered before.
Right, I totally relate to that. I was in exactly the same situation. Even as a nurse, I knew that our skin was a barrier, but I failed to appreciate the fact that everything that we put on our skin is actually absorbed straight into the bloodstream. So.
Yes, and as I thought about it makes more sense because, especially as a nurse too, there's birth control patches and nicotine patches, and we see those all the time, and they're drug delivery systems that are dispensed through the skin. So it makes sense, but again, I had never ever thought of that. And so it was a little bit hard to believe about these harmful chemicals. I started doing my own research, and I just found source after source after source that confirmed it. And I just kept wondering, how is this not public knowledge? How are we not aware of this?
Right, I felt exactly the same. It was mind-blowing to me that companies can put chemicals into products that are actually harmful to your health.
Yes.
So that was a big eye-opener for me too.
And we've learned how to read our food labels, and so I know how to look for trans fats, and I know how to look for sodium content, but I had never grabbed that product off the shelf in the store and turned it around and looked to see what the ingredients were in it.
Right, absolutely.
So I'm hoping we'll start doing that some more, especially as more and more people are understanding the importance of organic food. This is an area that we're not really taking a look at.
Right. I think one of the things that really amazed me too was the lack of regulations with our personal care products, and the fact that they are actually self-regulated, that companies don't get any government funding to test their products for safety. They actually rely on the manufacturer themselves to do that testing. So that was a big thing for me too.
Yes, I was naive to think that there was some safety testing protocols in place. I think that we all assume that. If we can buy it in the store, then it's safe for us to use. To some extent, but that's not the case. Dr. Samuel Epstein, he is the former head of the Cancer Prevention Coalition, and he says that it is more dangerous to put a product on your skin than to eat it.
Right, agreed.
And I'm kind of a visual person, so that makes me think about taking a bite out of my deodorant, and I get this like chalky taste in my mouth. That's disgusting.
Right.
But the reason why is because whatever we eat, our body has normal ways to detoxify what we eat. But what we put on our skin gets absorbed into the bloodstream without that same process.
Right, exactly.
So I've learned how to make safer choices in that regard.
Right. I know the subject is really personal to you.
Yes.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, it is personal to me. In my early 20s, I had a doctor connect some symptoms that I was experiencing to polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS. And it's very common these days. It affects up to 1 in 10 women. Mm-hmm. It has to do with an hormonal imbalance. And I was then told that I would either have difficulty getting pregnant, have a higher chance of miscarriage, or might not be able to have children at all. Wow. And this is becoming more and more common. There's 7.3 million American couples struggle getting pregnant or keeping a baby to full term. So my story is not as unique as you would think, unfortunately. So when I began learning about endocrine disrupting chemicals found in personal care products, it struck a chord with me because I have to go see a specialist once a year, an endocrinologist.
Okay.
And I began to think about all the products, all the skincare and makeup that I'd been slathering on my skin for all these years that were further disrupting my own endocrine issues.
Right.
And that floored me.
I just want to say, for those people that may not be familiar with the term endocrine disruptors, they are a group of chemicals that research has actually shown that does affect the endocrine system. The endocrine system in our body actually controls a lot of our functions. Mm-hmm. We have parts of the endocrine system controls the way that we sleep. It controls our heart rate, it controls our blood pressure, our digestion. It controls the way that we metabolize sugar in our body, so that can also contribute to weight gain. But one of the big ones that we talk about is it affects the reproductive system too. Mm-hmm. And that would be, a big reason why people could be suffering from infertility, and for sure infertility is definitely on the increase. Like you say, Kimi, there's a lot of couples nowadays that seem to be suffering from infertility.
Yes, and it's a very painful journey for many, many people.
Right.
And the endocrine system, it regulates brain and nervous system development.
Right.
And growth and function of the reproduction system, like you mentioned, metabolism, blood sugar levels, you mentioned those, ovaries, testes, pituitary, thyroid, and the adrenal glands. And we always hear about people having thyroid issues these days as well.
Right, that's another thing that's on the increase too.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I decided to sign up with this company as an independent consultant, and I began learning more through my training and also through just connecting with like-minded people. And you've been a part of that journey now too, which is exciting. But since then, it's also personal because my dad passed away from an aggressive form of prostate cancer just about 1.5 years ago. At an early age, came on. 1 in 2 men and 1 in 3 women will now be diagnosed with cancer sometime during their lifetime. Right. My grandmother has Alzheimer's, and there's over 5 million Americans living with Alzheimer's, and they expect that by 2025 it's going to increase to 7.1 million. And those are staggering numbers. And then we talk about autism. 1 in 68 U.S. children, and that's 1 in 42 boys, is being identified on the autism spectrum disorder. And that is up from 1 in 88 in 2012. So with those kinds of statistics, I think it's personal for all of us. We all are affected by those.
I totally agree with you. And, when I found out some of those statistics, it was really scary. And you want to share those things with everybody and say, did you know about this? And I think for me anyway, I had to come to realize is that, there are solutions. It's not just all about the problem, it's about the solution too. And that's what our Toxic Free Tuesdays is all about. And that's why we have you here today, because I know that you do have you've done a lot in the way of education for people, and you're helping people to read labels and
Yes.
things like that. So,
And I want to be clear to say that I'm not saying personal care products are the sole issue for those statistics.
Right,
but
absolutely.
I think that they are a piece of the puzzle that we're not addressing. And so I'm passionate about sharing that information with other people.
right, I totally agree with you. I think that we're exposed to chemicals from all avenues of our lives, and there are so many things that we really have no control over, that when you look at our personal care products, those are one thing that we actually can do something
Absolutely.
about. So,
Absolutely.
where did you start?
Well, I started with checking my product labels, and
Okay.
I began to look at prioritize what do I put all over my body. So I thought about lotion, and then I thought about what do I put in the areas that have more hair follicles. So shampoo, conditioner, and deodorant. I started
Okay.
in those certain places. I also went through my cupboards and started reading all those product labels. Many of them I had to use a magnifying glass for. And
Yep.
I returned them to the store. I took them back and I looked for safe products there, and when I couldn't find them, I got toilet paper and I stocked up. I also stopped using things like dryer sheets. I switched out laundry detergent. I threw away air fresheners and candles, but that's a whole nother conversation. I won't get off topic there.
Yeah, that's the fragrance is a whole nother show.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then as I used up products, I would then find safe alternatives. You know, it's overwhelming to think about changing everything at once, but I believe that small steps can really add up, and
Right.
setting a few priorities and then just changing them out as you go along, I think is a really wise approach.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but the one thing that I found was that, you know, when I help people to make decisions about products, and I say, you know, this is not good, this is good, a lot of people get confused because when they see the label, it may say that it's eco-friendly, or it's environmentally friendly, or it might have a nice picture of a flower on the front. And unfortunately, there's something in the industry that's called greenwashing.
Yes.
And what they do is, it's the manufacturer's way of pretending that their product is safer than it actually is. So that's why reading labels is much more important than just looking on the front of the product.
Yes.
You really need to get down into the nitty-gritty. So what should we be looking for on our labels?
Yes. Well, as you said, the marketing can be really tricky. I was even reading up on one of Harvard's School of Health's website, and they had a really interesting quote about under a law that has not been updated since 1938. It's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Pre-World War II, the U.S. FDA has little power to regulate the ingredients in personal care products. And so even known offenders such as formaldehyde, triclosan, and phthalates are still legally permissive in product formulations. And companies are allowed to label their products organic, natural, or hospital approved based on their own interpretations of those terms.
Right, and yeah, you do see dermatology approved or hospital approved, and that doesn't actually mean that there are not harmful chemicals in there.
Yes.
Right.
So, as you mentioned, we can't trust marketing. We can't trust
Right.
any of those terms. We can't trust the little green leaves that make everything look so nice and natural. And I know, the unfortunate thing is I know that there are many families and parents who are trying to make safe choices but are being misled. So here's a few things
Right.
to start taking a look out for. The first one I'll mention is fragrance, and it can also be listed as parfum or perfume on a label. It's a nasty loophole in the industry where manufacturers can legally hide hundreds of ingredients underneath that term. And so whenever I see fragrance listed, I know I have no idea what's in there, and I find out that this knocks out about 95% of the products that I look at.
Right.
So usually it's a good deciding factor whether or not to look at the other ingredients. So more than 75% of products with fragrance are legally hiding phthalates, and phthalates are known endocrine disruptors, again,
Right.
that term. They're linked with birth defects, breast cancer, diabetes, obesity, autism, and ADHD in the first and third trimesters of pregnancy. Now, there's also a tricky thing where I'll see some products that claim to be natural and they list natural fragrance. But again, that's a red flag to me because they're not disclosing every ingredient. So how can I make a decision to know whether or not this is safe for me and for my family?
Right,
So-
and I think a lot of decisions actually come down to us and what we're comfortable with.
Yes.
And I think a lot of the times it is a personal issue. You know, what some people may feel comfortable with, other people won't. So.
Right. But having the information, then knowing what to do with it from there as a personal choice.
Exactly.
I think.
Then it's your choice. But being informed is first and foremost.
Yes.
So what else we got on the list there?
The next group are parabens.
Okay.
I've even seen some products out there that are listing themselves as paraben-free. And again, don't trust just the marketing because it could have just as harmful chemicals also in the formulation.
Right.
They are groups of compounds used as preservatives that are derived from petroleum. Endocrine disruptors, again, mimic estrogen and are suspected to be linked with breast cancer. And there's been a study linking BPA and methylparaben with breast cancer, and the combination blocked the effectiveness of cancer drugs, including tamoxifen.
Wow.
So parabens, there's many different kinds, but definitely look out for those in your labels. The next one is triclosan. And triclosan is an active ingredient in antibacterial products. It's also an endocrine disruptor. I'm going to keep saying that. We'll get tired of hearing that, but it's in everything.
We'll get tired of hearing it.
Triclosan is registered with the government as a pesticide.
Yeah.
Red flag. Big red flag. It's shown to weaken muscles, including the heart muscle, and contributes to liver and inhalation toxicity. And studies continue to show that hot water and soap are just as effective. And so
Right.
antibacterial products really aren't doing us much good and are even doing us some harm, this effect.
Yeah, I don't know if you're aware, Kimi, where triclosan became popular. Originally, triclosan was a chemical that is added or was added to the scrub soaps that surgeons used in the hospital in order to kill bugs before they did surgery.
Wow.
And then over the years, everybody jumped on the bandwagon and started adding triclosan to all different kinds of products. And you'll find it in some toothpaste. You'll find it in personal care products, soaps. But one of the most popular places that you'll find it is in the little hand sanitizers, usually that are at the entrance of the store.
Yes.
And it's really not a good thing to be putting on. So always look for triclosan free when you're looking for your hand sanitizers. It is a pesticide.
I used to use those all the time.
Yeah.
And I've also seen triclosan in toothpaste
Yeah.
and shaving gels. So it's
Yeah.
a number of different things. Next, and of course I can't highlight all the chemicals in this short amount of time,
Right.
but there are actually over 80,000 used in products. The U.S., we only ban 11. Europe bans over 1,300, and I'm just highlighting a few of the the products that are used, the ingredients that are used regularly.
The worst offenders.
Some of the worst offenders, yes. So the next one are oxybenzone and octinazate, and these are also endocrine disruptors. They're chemical UV ray filters. They're found in many sunscreen and SPF products, and they can generate cell-damaging free radicals. And then finally, aluminum, which is active ingredient in deodorants.
Most deodorants, yeah.
It's a bioaccumulative neurotoxin, so it stores in your fat cells and accumulates, and it destroys nerve tissue.
Right.
So those are just a few to get started with. But again, a red flag is any company that won't disclose all the ingredients that they're using on their products. If I don't know what's in there, or if they're putting things under the term fragrance or natural fragrance, that's a red flag for me, because I'd like to know what's in it.
Right. I'm totally with you on that. So what happened for you? You had a big surprise.
Yes. Yes, a very sweet surprise.
Yes.
I certainly
There
didn't.
she is.
There she is. There she is. I certainly did not expect to get pregnant.
Right.
I just didn't want this junk in my body anymore, and I didn't want it to further be messing up my endocrine system. But 8 months later, 8 months after I started making these changes, I got pregnant. And because my cycles were so irregular with PCOS, that's one of the symptoms, I did not even find out till I was 10 weeks along. So
Wow.
it shows you how shocked I was. I wasn't looking for this at all. But my daughter was born almost a year ago, last July.
And she's beautiful.
Thank you. And of course, getting pregnant at any age is precious. But having your first baby at 38 is a sweet gift. It's a sweet gift. So
congratulations. I know I've seen her. She's gorgeous. So what would be your recommendations for anybody who is thinking about getting pregnant? This is something that's really close to my heart. I'm a pediatric nurse, and I do a lot of education for pregnant moms. But for you, what do you recommend for them?
Definitely. Well, over 200 industrial chemicals and pollutants have been found in babies' cord blood, many of which are harmful to the brain and nervous system, cause cancer, and or cause birth defects and abnormal development.
Right, that blew me away.
What we put on our skin prior to getting pregnant and during pregnancy is very, very important. The rate of premature births in the United States is one of the highest among the developed world. 1 in 10 babies born in 2014 arrived before 37 weeks of pregnancy. And there's an emerging body of research connecting preterm birth with in utero toxic exposure to chemicals. And then also Time Magazine had a great article. Once you start looking for this information, you find it everywhere.
Yeah, it gets kind of scary. You start and you end up down a rabbit hole, and it can get kind of scary. But I think the thing that they need to know is try and avoid the toxic chemicals if you know that you're going to get pregnant.
Right. Or
you find out that you are pregnant, because a lot of the times we don't know we're pregnant until we're actually pregnant.
Yes. So, this article in Time Magazine talked about how women who had higher levels of 2 different types of phthalates that can be under that term fragrance products, how that was linked with an increased risk of asthma, 72% and 78% increased risk. And of course, here in the Central Valley, we already have enough issues with air pollution and environmental pollution. So asthma affects 1 in 5 kids here in the Fresno County. And so to be able to do what we can to help pregnant moms and babies born as healthy as possible is really important.
So I know that what you do now is you help other people to find safer alternatives, and I know that you help moms to read labels. So how can people get hold of you if they have questions?
Absolutely. Well, you'll see my information at the bottom. My website is Pure by Kimi, KIMI.com. My email address is Kimi@purebykimi.com, which is easy. Also, my cell phone number in the area, 559-999-5932. A lot of 5s and a lot of 9s. There we go. But I love to connect with people to help them read their product labels, help them connect with how to find safer products and how to make healthier choices. It's really become a passion, and I have sweet evidence of what that can lead to now.
Right. And I actually do have Kimi's permission to post there's a recording of this video on my website, which is toxicfreejourney.com. So if there's any information in here you want to rewatch it again, or you want to be able to send it to somebody else, then it will be on the website, and it will also be on centralvalleytalk.com. So I want to say thank you to Kimi for coming in today, and I know that I'm going to have her back because we have lots more to talk about.
I'd love to.
So, thanks.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome to Toxic Free Tuesday. My name is Penny Campriello, and this is the show where we help to find simple solutions for toxic problems. As a registered nurse and a life coach, I am passionate about empowering people to improve their health by finding safer solutions to some of the toxicity they're exposed to in their lives. When it comes down to vanity, most people I've found, in women especially, and this is our women's show today, so most people are okay with 1 or 2 wrinkles, and there's a lot of things that they will accept when it comes to aging. But one of the things that I have found is that people are absolutely not willing to accept the gray hair. So many of the green beauty people that I have spoken to, that's one of the things that they are willing to compromise on a little bit. So, and it's one of the questions that I get asked about all the time. People want to know, what is it that I can use that's safe? I'm doing the wrong show. What is it that is safe to use in a beauty salon? And what I have today is I have somebody with me who has been working in the beauty industry for a long time. And her focus has been on, she's a nail technician. And her name is Lisa. And I am so happy that she has joined me today. And here is Lisa. And I do apologize.
That's okay.
I'm thinking about all the beautiful women that we have on the show today, and I know that we have Stephanie coming up next, and I'm thinking this is Stephanie and it's not. This is Lisa. So I do apologize.
That's okay.
So Lisa, oh dear me. Let's try and regroup and start again. I do apologize. Lisa, please tell me a little bit about yourself. How long have you been involved in the beauty industry and doing nails?
Oh my gosh. Licensed, it was 32 years this month. So I actually learned how to do nails when I was like 12.
Oh, wow.
So it was people in the family did it, so I kind of caught on that way. But yeah, so 32 years. I've been at many different salons here in Fresno, and I've seen all the different changes that have come about in the last 3 decades, you know, the popular stuff going in and out, and so yeah, it's been a long time.
Right. I know when I talk to women, doing their nails is something that they find a nail technician and they use them on a regular basis. So do you have like clients who have been coming to you for a long time and continue to do that?
Oh yeah, I get the ones that have just been there forever, and then some kind of go in and out, and some it's just a one-time thing, you know, for a special occasion.
Right. I know that in the beauty industry there are certain professions that are highlighted that women are exposed to more chemicals. We will be talking about hair products, but in the nail industry, I notice a lot of the times that nail technicians will be wearing a mask, and that's because of the chemicals, the toxic chemicals that you're inhaling during the day.
Right. There's a lot more chemicals that are worse than others. And I don't know, I think the more time they spend there, they want to just not have that dust flying up in their face all the time. I personally don't use one, but my product's a little different too. So
Right, and we're going to get to your products in a minute. I know that even though our bodies we have this inbuilt mechanism that we can detoxify, but unfortunately, during the course of the day, we are exposed to chemicals outside. And then working in the profession like yourself, you're exposed to even more chemicals. And that actually increases what they call our toxic load or the body burden. And that, I know, can affect us in different ways. For myself, I personally developed an allergy which caused me to have a career change because I couldn't use the particular soaps that we were using in the neonatal unit anymore. So how did that happen for you? I know that you have been doing nails for a long time. Tell me what happened for you.
Well, it kind of happened suddenly. It had been probably like 19 years that I'd been in the business at that point. And out of nowhere, all of a sudden, I started getting migraines and skin rashes and respiratory problems. And it kept on happening. I'm like, oh, it's just allergies or something like that. Well, then I figured it's allergies, all right, but it's not to like the outdoors. It was the chemical in the product I was working with. And I know I was working 3 days a week back then, and I'd go to work on like a Tuesday feeling fine, Wednesday kind of iffy, and by Thursday I was sick. I was going home and, you know, taking stuff for my migraine, taking stuff to make me feel better, and it took like 2 or 3 days of being away from it before I kind of cleared up.
Wow.
But then after about a year of going through that, it was like, okay, this is getting to be debilitating.
Right.
So I didn't know what I was going to do because that's what I had done all these years was do nails, and I'm like, well, what else is there? And so, I don't know, I started talking to people about it, and it just so happened one day I was at work, and one of the hairdressers came running up to me and says, oh my gosh, this lady's got on plastic nails. You got to come and see this stuff. It's amazing. Wow. And she's rattling off about all this, the different things it doesn't do or it does do. So I went and I spoke with her, and long story short, I got in touch with the product and kind of learned how to do it, and I switched over, and I've been doing it ever since.
Wow.
And I have no issues anymore at all. So it's been great.
So the products that you were using were for what kind of nails were you
Acrylic.
using? So that was for acrylic nails.
Acrylic nails.
And
yeah.
were you using those yourself?
At times, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would put them on myself, and I knew when I took them off, it was going to be, going through that long period of growing them out and trying to get them healthy again, because they're horrible when you first take them off. So a lot of times I would just keep them off and just put clear polish on, because I really didn't have the time to keep mine up. I was too busy doing everybody else's.
Right.
So, but I was getting the skin rashes and little blisters and
Okay.
that kind of thing was starting up.
Because I know for my daughter in particular, she was having acrylic nails put on for the longest time, and she developed all kinds of blisters and
It's
skin
pretty
peeling
intense.
around the base of her nails, and to the point where she had to stop using them.
Yeah.
So this new product that you're using, how is it different? You say they're plastic.
Well,
nails?
it's not plastic necessarily. They always say it like it's got its nickname, liquid plastic. It's been around for probably over 20 years now, and I don't know why more people don't know about it, because it's really a good product. In fact, people come up to me all the time and they go, "Is this new?" I'm like, no, it's been around for quite a while. I've been doing them for like 13 years myself.
Right.
So it's a non-acrylic gel system is what the company calls it. It's called Quintessence Gel Nails.
Okay.
And it's been around, like I said, for a long time. And it has no harsh chemicals. There's no odor. You don't smell anything. Right. And it causes like hardly any damage to the nail at all. I know when you take off an acrylic, the nail's all chewed up and stuff. And mainly that's because of the acid primers too. And because it's so embedded in your nail that when it comes off, it's going to take part of it, part of your nail with it.
Right.
This one I've noticed when it starts to come off, like if you want to pick at it, it'll come off, but it comes off in like one piece, but your nail's still there. And they're not as strong, I shouldn't say that, they're not as hard as acrylic, but they're as strong, but they're more flexible. So in other words, when you're cleaning house and you're banging your hands into things, if you have an acrylic on, chances are it's going to snap, and it's going to snap pretty low and be kind of a mess, but this stuff doesn't do that. It just, it may come off, but I notice it comes off a lot less than the acrylic does. So I was kind of, happy about that. My clients were pretty happy about that too.
So it sounds like for you, it's definitely been because of the application process and the way that you have just noticed the difference in applying it as a technician.
Right.
That it's definitely a healthier alternative for you. So I guess if we have people who are viewing this right now, how can they get hold of you so that they can
check it out?
check it out?
I work at Neo Dolce Salon. It's in the Villaggio Shopping Center at Blackstone and Nice. And I think my email is down at the bottom of the screen.
Yep, sure is.
But yeah, what I like to do when people kind of want to just see it is have people come in and get like a manicure, and then I'll put it on a couple of nails and they can try it out.
Oh, that's a good
And
idea.
to see how they like it. And
Right.
9.5 times out of 10 they come in and get them all put on. So it's
Right.
kind of a good way to introduce them to it without having to do the whole thing if they're unsure.
Right. Okay.
So,
And you have some openings.
oh yeah.
Good. So if there's anybody out there who's having problems with their acrylics or has developed allergies to the nail care products that they've been using, I would strongly recommend that you contact Lisa and get together with her and try out the new products that she's using. A copy of the video will be uploaded onto Central Valley Talk and then also onto my website, Toxic Free Journey. So if you know of anybody who may find this useful, then please pay it forward. That's what this show is all about. And so thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for coming on today.
Thank
I'm
you for
really,
having me.
really glad. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Penny Campriello, and I want to welcome you to Toxic Free Tuesday. And today is Girls' Day, and we have so far been talking about personal care products and the dangers of endocrine disruptors. We've also been talking about developing allergies to nail care products and finding solutions for that. And that's what Toxic Free Tuesday is all about. It's all about finding safe solutions for toxic problems. As a registered nurse and a life coach, my passion is to find healthy solutions that people can live by removing toxins from their lives. So when I'm helping people, one of the things that I get asked all the time is, how about hair? It seems that people are more than willing to accept a few wrinkles, but not necessarily accepting going gray. So I asked around and had difficulty in finding something that was really, truly as safe as they say it would be. It's estimated that 75% of American women today are dyeing their hair. And it's a big factor when it comes down to confidence with women. So unfortunately, finding a hair system, a coloring system that is totally safe is not going to happen. It seems from the green beauty experts that I spoke to that it's almost impossible. In order to make something effective, it has to have some chemicals in, and it is one of those things that they are willing to compromise on. So when I was introduced to Stephanie, who is my next guest, I was really, really pleased because she is actually using a product that has some really, really great ingredients in it. And so, Stephanie, I want to welcome you to Toxic Free Tuesday.
Thank you, Penny. Thanks
so
for
glad
having me.
that you're here today.
Me too.
And actually, in preparing for my meeting with you, I did contact some of the bigger names in the green beauty industry, and I asked them about this specific product that you have. And it actually gets some great reviews, so I was absolutely thrilled. So, but first of all, how long have you been in the beauty profession, and how long have you been, what is it you do?
I've been in the beauty profession since 2009 when I received my schooling from Paul Mitchell.
Okay.
And upon graduating in 2010, I went into the salon and did that. And about 6 months later, I was invited to come back and be an instructor.
Ooh.
So for about 6 years, I was instructing people on how to do hair and color hair, as well as working in the salon on my own. Okay. Just recently, though, I decided to get out on my own, have my own clientele, and just focus on that.
Well, good. So I know that when we spoke earlier on, you were saying that you've been making some other changes in your life. And so finding a better system for hair coloring was something that was really important to you. You had mentioned about the smell in the salon and all the things that, that we talk about that surround our beauty products. So yes. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, how it really all started was I sat down and I watched a documentary on the fashion industry. And I saw that the pesticides that were being used with some farmers and their families in India were having a really negative effect, and it really devastated me. And so I sat down with my family and I said, look, we've got to make some changes. We decided to start living a more organic lifestyle. And I started talking with my clients about this. And I found out that it was actually a need to find a healthier alternative in the salon with hair color as well. And up until that point, I didn't know that there were products on the market that were even available to be a healthier alternative for us.
Right.
So I did my research and I came across a product that I really like called Oway, and I said, okay, this looks great, let's give it a try. So I decided to bring it into the salon to use with my clients.
Good for you. Oway, and that stands for organic way, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Oway for organic way. So I know that it was important for you to find a better product, but how did that come across with your clients?
My clients, it was kind of different all across the board. I had some clients who were really excited about it, who were already living more of an organic and natural lifestyle. And then I had other clients who were just excited to try something new and were really pleasantly surprised the kind of health benefits they were getting. They were having a way more comfortable experience, and I'm really hoping that will inspire more of my clients to live more of a healthier, more organic lifestyle as well.
Right. So in the normal procedure, when you are applying a hair color, how does that actually work? Because I think that it works a little bit differently with OA.
A little bit. In this particular case, we are no longer working with ammonia when we use OA product. And that is a huge difference with most of the conventional options that are on the market. So everything from me mixing the color up while I'm breathing it to actually applying it on my client, the experience is much more comfortable for everybody.
And I think that's a lot of a thing that people don't realize is that, we're exposed to toxins in the environment, not only by putting them on our skin, but by ingesting them in our food and inhaling them too. So when you're working in that kind of a closed environment, and if you're working around other people who are all coloring at the same time, that's a lot of exposure to chemicals, right?
Yes, probably thousands, if not millions, yeah.
Wow. So how have things changed for you now that you've introduced OA into your product line? Because I know that you're still using traditional coloring products for people that want it.
Yes. Well, yes and no.
Okay.
I'm very selective with what I bring into my inventory. I make sure I read about it and I do my research before I try it. So I'm not really, I wouldn't say I'm exclusive to the OA brand, but it's definitely an emphasis that I'm planning on doing in the now and in the future. But as far as how has things changed, I think my clients just saw an instant benefit with this product because they're no longer experiencing the adverse reactions. Like, for instance, I had one client come to me for the first time, and she showed up with no makeup on, explaining to me that, there's no point in wearing it because tears will just run down her face the whole time from the fumes. Wow. And she said, wait a minute, this is different. I'm so much more comfortable. And she was so surprised. And I think a lot of people don't know that these kinds of options are out there.
Right. And so how about allergic reactions? Have you found that that's different? Because I know that a lot of people actually are allergic to some of the chemicals that are in hair coloring products.
Yes, it's very common for even stylists to develop allergies along the way in their careers after they've been doing hair for a long time.
Right.
I found now I am a lot more sensitive now when I'm around certain chemicals. I've noticed that if I'm around certain chemicals, my throat will start to hurt, my ears will start to hurt, and by the end of the day I can barely speak on the way home because my throat is so irritated. So now I have to be a lot more aware with what I use.
Wow. So what about other products? Do you just use the hair color from OA, or do they have a whole line of organic hair care products?
Oh, they have a system for sure. After you have your hair actually colored, the chemical process, when I take you to the shampoo bowl, I'm also following up with the post color treatment. So the shampoo and the hair mask, which are also great products and a healthier alternative to a lot of the conventional products out there. Okay.
So my biggest question is, does it work?
Absolutely. It's effective, or else I wouldn't work. Else I wouldn't use it. It colors gray and it holds up nicely. It also can take hair lighter instead of having to bleach, which is always a great option, and it just looks great.
Huh. So, because the way that I understand it is that it's much harder to lighten somebody's hair, right?
With color.
With color.
Yes.
Rather than actually darken somebody's hair.
Yes, generally speaking.
Why is that?
Why is that? Well, it's a whole science lesson. But basically, if you have chemicals, if you have hair colors living in your hair, it's very difficult to extract that previous color out with color.
Oh, I see.
Color just isn't designed to do that. It's not something we do commonly. We would usually lighten. But some people, their natural hair grows out and they want to go to blonde. Sometimes you're able to go to blonde even on that natural hair.
Okay. And does the process take any longer to using an organic product or a more organic product, does the process take any longer than traditionally?
No, not particularly. I think it's pretty comparable, actually. It performs very similar to a lot of the major brands that are out there.
Okay. And how about price-wise? That would be another important factor
Right.
for a lot of people.
It is a little bit pricier. There's great ingredients in there. I found that my clients are very concerned about their health, so they're okay with spending a little bit more if they need to just be safer for themselves and their families. So.
Okay, and you know what? I think that's one thing that I've found with everything, with personal care products, and with anything. I mean, even with food that we're buying in the store. If you want a better quality and you want less chemicals, the chemicals actually tend to be cheaper. And so if you want a better product, then it does tend to be a little bit more expensive. But so you find that because the clients that you have are more interested in their health, that they're willing to pay a little bit more for doing that.
Yeah, it's usually not a challenge, and I always offer people a free consultation. So if people have any question about that, I'm very open with sharing that. So
Okay,
it's worked out well.
Cool. So I think that people will be knocking on your doors, absolutely knocking on your doors, and they will want to know where they can find you and the best way to contact you. So how is that?
All right, you can find me at Endless Summer Salon. It's on Herndon in Milburn in the Save Mart Shopping Center. And the best way to contact me is through my website, which should be up on the screen. And it is stephsenhair.com.
Okay, I see it as stephsenhair.com.
Yeah,
Okay,
all of my
I got it.
location, my phone number, my email, everything is through there.
I got it down there. Okay.
You can even book an appointment online now, so
Woo!
it's pretty easy, yeah.
Yeah, that does make it nice and easy. There is one thing that I do want to touch on before we finish, and that is the fact that, my passion is for pregnant moms and, moms-to-be. And personally, I would not recommend a mom who is trying to get pregnant or who is pregnant in dyeing their hair. I would think that is a period in their lives that they would forego the hair care treatment at that point in their lives. And I know that this is a really great alternative for the traditional hair coloring product. But I just wanted to say that I would not recommend a pregnant mom coloring their hair. Just wait, get through your pregnancy, and then color it afterwards, and go see Stephanie afterwards to color your hair. So I don't know that I have any more questions. Any more products on the horizon? I know that you're always looking for new ones.
Yeah, I'm always looking to better myself. I mean, not only in the salon and my skill set, but I mean, emotionally, fitness-wise, emotion, I mean, everything. I'm always trying to better myself. So anytime I find a product that I think would be great, I'm always willing to try it out.
Good. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the end of this session right now, and I want to thank Stephanie for coming on and sharing her product, and it's Oway, O-W-A-Y, and that's safe hair coloring. We will be putting a copy of this video onto my website, which is toxicfreejourney.com, and it will also be on centralvalleytalk.com. And we will also be putting it out on social media. So if you know of anybody who would benefit from this information today, that's what we're all about. We're all about spreading the wealth and paying it forward. So thank you for joining us today. Next week on Toxic Free Tuesday, we will be talking about emotional eating and the ways that you can detox from that. Exercise, we'll be talking about exercise as being a great way to detox. And smoking cessation for our smokers out there. Smoking is one of the most toxic things that you can do. So we will be covering that next week. So if you know anybody who is eager to quit smoking, then please join us next week. So thank you so much. Penny Campriello signing out from Toxic Free Tuesday today.